I thought I'd discuss books I've been getting in the mail. 2 books that I bought myself, 2 books that I got because I have very generous friends who think of me sometimes when they see good books or books out there that they think I might enjoy. Amazing, and thank you. The first one, I better change glasses for this because first one is called Ghosts of Arcadia. It's written by a professor of English at the University of Maine. His name is Marcus Librisi. It's not fiction, it's non-fiction about urban legend and folklore in Maine. And I've read 2 of these. These can come in these short snippets, beautifully illustrated with a photograph, and I just love this book. It's so pretty and interesting, and there's so many ideas in books like these that you can. I like using the word cannibalize for it, because you kind of don't want to just take it and put it in your story, but you read these and some of it you digest it, and yeah, the cannibal simile is maybe a little. Is there some metaphor? The other one, also sent to me by a very generous friend, is called The Satire's Head and All the Tales of Terror. It's edited by David A. Sutton, and there are stories in this by Brian Lumley and Ramsey Campbell, and the illustration in the front is just fantastic. I love that, and I've read 2 of the stories already. The first one and the second last one and the last one, maybe 3. Maybe I read this. Anyway, the 2 I remember were very vivid. I don't think I actually went through. I was thinking of continuing reading the last one. I don't think I did, because I can't remember doing it. The interesting part about, because this is a collection that came out in the 80s? 75. I was 2 years old. And the interesting thing about reading an old collection like this is that when you're reading, it's not just from a different era. There are different things in the minds of people who are writing, and you get these glimpses into something that's not maybe very current, but that is still interesting, and the stories are written in it so far are just thrilling, very memorable, stick with you, and so I'm going to enjoy going through all of this. That's going to be a thrill. And then there are 2 books that I bought myself. Now I don't always succeed, but I try to have this rule of not books that don't have beautiful covers. They have to be pretty. If the cover doesn't pop at me, or the book itself, sometimes just the book that's beautiful, then I'll get the ebook. Usually a bit cheaper, a little cheaper. Mostly, I don't need space for them in my shelves. I have not read these books, obviously. I just got them. One I just finished getting it from where we get our packages these days. The first book I got yesterday. It's called When Things Get Dark. It's edited by Ellen Datlow, and if you're following the horror community on Twitter, you've seen this cover already. It's a story inspired by Shirley Jackson, which interested me, and the cover is just so amazing. Followed all the way. I love this. I started not on the, I read the introduction, and then I jumped straight into a story called Quiet Dead Things by Cassandra Khaw. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing names wrong. I haven't finished it, but it's very interesting. And the name of the story popped out at me. And I was just listening to an interview with Ellen Datlow and other writers, her writers, about another anthology she put out. And she was asked a question about how she chooses which story is the first and which is the last. And she mentioned that you have to make the book good for people who actually read it from the first page to the finished. A lot of readers don't do that, or I don't do that. I jump in and I put the book down. I may read other books and other short stories. I often have at least 2 short story collections on my bookshelf just to pick up and read a little. I love short stories, so they're always going to. I'm always going to read all of them, but it might take a while. So that was kind of fun, and a little hypocritic of me, because the collection I'm sitting out in the next few weeks, Seafood and Cocktails, I kind of start off in the introduction by telling people that it's kind of better if you read it from the first story to the last, because even though these are short stories that stand on their own, there is an underlying theme and an underlying story in the whole collection that kind of ends, beginning and ending. So if you start with, the last story and read the first story last, you're kind of missing that point of the book. So there's that. Hypocritic, that's a different word. I do write better than I talk. I should name all my videos that. Anyway, the other one, also, this is my favorite cover, I think, ever. And not just that, the name of the book also, it seems to have a story in itself and say things about ghost stories that interests me. So I can't wait to read this. It's called The Ghost of Who You Were. Short stories by Christopher Golden. And this is the cover. And it's a continued, like they do nowadays. But this is kind of what's on the back. And this is a fantastic cover. This is just hitting it. Full pot, jackpot, I'd say. And it's a beautiful book as well. And I other than that, I don't know what, because like I said, I just got it. I haven't even read. Usually when I get new books, I read the first page just to get some kind of I haven't even done that yet. Also on my to read shelf, or on my reading shelf, is a book that I posted a picture of a while ago. The Mammoth Book of Folklore, edited by Stephen Jones. I'm reading that. That's another. So I'm always reading a lot of short stories. I write a lot of short fiction. My fiction, even the longer one, kind of is a short. I'm a novella person, I guess. Well, I'm a short story person. Basically, that's the easiest. But lately, it's been getting a little longer. So it's an interesting development. I just wanted to share this today. I don't want to work. I just want to sit down and read these. That's it's always a thrill to find a short story that kind of hits home, and short stories, they're kind of like pop songs. They get stuck on your head for a little while, and and then they kind of phase out. Unlike longer stories or novels that kind of stick with you for a longer period of time. Not sure why. There are short stories that stick with me. My all-time favorite short story is by Michael Marshall Smith, called "The Man Who Drew Cats." He got awards for that story. It's an amazing. He's a very, very good short story writer. If you haven't read his short fiction, you really should. Ersi Mathson is another one of those writers that writes short fiction kind of perfectly. It's a thrill reading his short stories. They're always very to the point, and he uses language in a way that most writers don't, to be honest. And then there's I'm naming authors. And there's Robert Sherman, who managed to write very creepy and horrific horror fiction and be funny at the same time, which blows my mind every time. And if we're in short fiction, you should read. I always recommend Banana Yoshimoto. She's a Japanese writer, and she writes short fiction. She's not a horror writer, but there is a kind of loneliness and a kind of creeping. It's dissettled. Is that the right word? It's there's underlying atmosphere that's fascinating, and it translates really well. I don't read Japanese, so my off the top of my head, short story. A friend of mine is coming out with his 4th short story collection now before Halloween, called Horrors Untold 4 by Matt Wilderson. He's one of these writers that hits it home quite a lot, and there's something new in the way he uses horror tropes, but he does it in a way that will that's unique and fascinating. So I can recommend that as well. I haven't read this one. I've read his older work, and I really liked Melancholia, which is a novel he put out a while ago. It's gruesome, has a very serious topic of discussion, but it's really, really, really good. Anyway, I better get to something other than this. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this will be up to date. We'll see. I'm going to a little Halloween show. No, these, you go through a house, kind of. It's a flower shop that does this here. Very cool. So we're going to see that today. So we'll see if this comes up today or tomorrow. Anyway, I hope you have a good day, wherever you are. Thank you for watching. Follow me on Twitter or subscribe on YouTube, and tell me other things I should be reading and talking about. Bye-bye.